college football is dead.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is there to live for?
What
Kids,
happened to the game I love?
Puppies, the elderly going on walks in your neighborhood. Those things don't even mean anything to me anymore. I don't even want to see it. Get it off my TV screen. If I see Heather Dinich one more time, 13th reason. I can't. I hate it here. And it's not even just the whole BYU situation and I'm still irked that Tech doesn't get to host a playoff game. It would have been awesome.
That's just good for the sport.
I would rather them have the 5th spot, Oregon be 4th, and they get to wax James Madison and have a warm-up game. It worked for everyone who did it last year. But more than that, Iowa State just looked at the bowl committee and said, yeah, we're not going. What? You can't do that. And the fan, a couple Iowa State fans are like, well, we don't have a coach. That doesn't work. You do.
Ole Miss is doing just fine without a coach. They're gonna keep playing. Kansas
State, is in a spot where they don't have a coach, but they have an NFL caliber offense. There's so many NFL guys on their offense. They're like, yeah, we won't play a bowl game. Millions of dollars left off the table where the Big 12 can prove against, 23 remaining members of some SEC team that this league is good.
There are starving programs out there that would kill for a bowl game. Okay.
Baylor. You think they would opt that a bowl game?
Actually, let's not go that far.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to see that.
Don't need to see more of that. Don't need to see. And
Kansas, man. Yeah.
We're watching Kirk Herbstreit on the SEC championship. Of course, Fowler and Herbie are calling the SEC title game. And he says, yeah, I feel like teams can never be punished for losing their conference championship game. But BYU, it just incredible what comes out of his mouth. And then the committee allows Notre Dame and Miami, who sat at home. Just, it was... They're about BYU now.
Well, this is like McElroy opened the show with this today. For national champion Alabama quarterback Greg McElroy, by the way.
Who really wanted Alabama in, by the way.
Says Alabama, first thing he says, Alabama should be in. And he uses that same reasoning. We should not de-incentivize making the conference championship game. That's great, man. But one of the teams that's in and nobody said a peep about was one that didn't make the conference championship for the worst Power 4 conference there is. And that's kind of my big takeaway, by the way, is that somehow still they respect the ACC more than the Big 12, even though everything in the Big 12 was better this whole entire year than the ACC. They literally took a team that didn't make the conference championship game, was just sitting at home, and they leapfrogged a couple of teams this week, just sitting there. What are we doing? What? And then they're like, oh yeah, well now teams are gonna not play in the conference championship game. And it's like, yeah, you did this. You did this. Last year you put 2 ACC teams in there, and the argument was SMU was an 11-win team, and they lost to a really good Clemson team. And now this year, when BYU is an 11-win team and loses to a even better, very, very good Texas Tech team, that's not good enough. Sorry.
It's not even good enough to be on the graphic, to be in the conversation.
That's the thing. And we knew that coming in because it was never even part of the discussion. The whole thing today, the whole drama today, Sunday, was Alabama, Miami, Notre Dame. Even though we know how BYU stacks up against Notre Dame and Miami, which was no contest.
If we put the graphic up there, the world would see that when they put strength of schedule and strength of record on there and win-loss, BYU has more wins, a better strength of record, and a better strength of schedule, tenfold, than Miami and Notre Dame. So if we just keep them off the graphic, we're going to talk about that. That's the middle segment of the show. The college football is in a terrible spot. They just told me BYU is the 12th best team in the country, and in the 12-team college football playoff era, they're not in the playoff. There are so many pieces of this that don't make any sense and that are just bad. What happened to the game that I love?
I'm telling you, man. I feel as down on college football as I ever have.
Part of this, and I would love to get your thoughts, part of this, it does have to do with the Notre Dame Miami thing. What idiots. I mean, I wish I could look at every one of the College Football Playoff Committee board, formerly Mac Rhodes, and just idiot. Clark Griswold, Merry Christmasing as the guys walk out the door.
Yes.
That's what I want to do. Do you think, so we've learned none of them seem like very smart people. Do you think Mark Harlan being on the committee as the Big 12's appointee, because the last guy from the Big 12 who was at Baylor did some nefarious things and had to be let go, you think that having Mark Harlan on the committee helped BYU in these conversations?
No. Okay. No. Mac Rhodes, who put Baylor in such an awful position this month next year and possibly the next 5 years, also screwed BYU and took them out of the playoff, man. Like, all we were
outside of marriage as well.
All we were looking for was when Mac Rhodes was named the CFP committee chair, we all said, okay, now we're going to get at least an objectionable look, if not a favorable look at the Big 12. Like, we're going to, like what the ACC got last year, and I do believe SMU should have been in last year, we're going to get that look now for the Big 12. And then with a month to go, 3 weeks to go, he's out. And who does he get replaced by but BYU's biggest rivals, AD? Like, it's just, it sucks. It sucks all the way around for BYU. And yeah, Mac Rhodes probably has a part to play in that as well.
Where is Mac? Haven't heard a lot out of him. Haven't heard a lot out of him.
Haven't heard.
I also, again, and a lot of thoughts on the state of college football that we're going through here. You, the listener, are getting to detox with us.
No notes, man. Stream of consciousness.
How Notre Dame and Miami didn't do anything. They didn't do anything this week. They didn't do anything on Saturday. They went to the club. They went to a cookout. The movie theater. They saw The New Wicked. And the committee said, flip it. Why didn't you do that 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? I think Arkansas, they already really wanted to fire Hunter Yurachek, the AD. And for something he did outside of the university, this debacle of a committee, they're probably just, you know what, fire him. We can't keep doing this.
Now that nobody's going to hire him away, they can
somehow John Gruden, who allegedly utilized the N-word numerous times in writing, one of the most idiotic things you could possibly do as a human being, is the only one with common sense about this whole thing. I don't know if you saw his video about how to fix the playoff.
Yeah,
that's the state that we're in. Florida. What is in Ohio? We are in the Ohio. That's the state of college football right now.
It's just and the whole time this is like nails on the chalkboard for me. It's like the whole time, these ESPN cats are talking about we need 16. Gosh, it's so tough to pick 12. Like, man, we used to pick 2. We were
a proper society. I almost want to go back to it.
Then we pick 16, and then we're going to be bitching about who's 17 and 18. Like, that doesn't get fixed. That is always going to be there. And by the way, as we know, basically every year of college football, there are not 16 teams that can win a national championship. There's not 12 teams that can win a national championship. So if we're going to go off of that, why do we even have 12 to begin with? And by the way, I kind of like 12. I think 12 is a good spot, but we're just going to be arguing about this all the time if we keep expanding it. And it's, again, as we said with 12, if you go to 16, that doesn't help BYU. That doesn't help Utah. That doesn't help Duke, the ACC champions. They had 5 losses. They weren't going to get in anyway. But it does help Texas.
They would have held BYU out of the 16-team playoff for Vanderbilt.
Yeah. It helps Vanderbilt. Yeah. They probably would have. Vanderbilt's win at Tennessee, they would have said was better than anything BYU did. I don't think that's true, but that's what they would say.
This ESPN deal is corrupt. I could explain more. This is Locked On Big 12, Locked On Baylor. That's Cameron Stewart, by the way. I forgot to tell you guys.
Hey, who cares?
Yep. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is exactly where you go to buy tickets to anything. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. 48 teams for the first time ever. You're excited. I'm excited. We're all excited about the World Cup. Croatia, England, Dallas. That's why the Game Time app is clutch. Haven't you always wanted to see Croatia play soccer? With Game Time, track the price drops in real time. Get alerts when great seats open. Buy tickets the moment they hit the app, and it puts the power back in your hands. Pull up the app. The layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. Pick a game, tap a section, and have your tickets locked within minutes. Right now, go to Game Time. Every concert, every event, every match, download the Game Time app. Create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Game Time. Download the Game Time app. The corruption at ESPN has become fairly obvious. This starts with Kirk Herbstreit being in the booth and saying, I don't think that a conference championship game blowout should hurt you ever in the college ball playoff.
Really?
But BYU, I mean, they're saying the quiet part out loud. They're being very obvious with it. And the biggest piece of this, like everybody, this is where I think BYU and the Big 12 could sue ESPN, could sue the NCAA for Sherman antitrust laws. And the reason being is because we've created a monopoly. Are those legal?
No.
A monopoly where who owns the rights to the SEC?
That would be the worldwide leader in sports.
Correct, ESPN. Who owns the rights to the college football playoff?
That's the 3 letters. 4 letters. ESPN.
That's ESPN, no doubt.
Gotcha.
So if ESPN owns stock, actually owns the entirety of the college football playoff and of the SEC, they're keeping the lights on for both and broadcasting every Tuesday night. Don't you think that they want what's best for ratings? Or do you think that they actually want what's best for college football?
As someone who's a media professional, I say ratings are better.
So when Kirk Herbstreit or Chris Fowler say, like, oh, we here at ESPN, we have no vested interest. That's like being the majority owner in Apple, in the Apple company, in Apple stock, and saying, man, I love Android.
I don't have nothing. I'm just a guy who's appreciating technology.
I actually use a Nokia. I don't even use Apple. Because and where I want to give them a bit of reprieve and not jump down their throat entirely is because, yeah, if I own stock in Apple, I'm going to use Apple products. They own stock in the SEC. They own stock with the playoff. They want the SEC to succeed. But now that's what this is. It's just an SEC invitational. I think, Cam, I really do. I think that Utah could go toe-to-toe with the 3rd, 4th, 5th best teams in the SEC. What I just saw Alabama do, Utah at its best, I think that's a ball game. I really believe that. But even me saying that, someone's going to hear that and think, what an idiot. How stupid. Because ESPN has created in your brain a hypothetical scenario where it's impossible, where it couldn't happen. It's not a thing. And it's just not what real life is.
This is where I feel old. Because when I first got into college football, the SEC was, great and had the tradition and the passion. But it was not like the last 10, 15 years since Nick Saban started winning at Alabama, we just put the SEC on an absolute different pedestal. It's a different world, and every team in the SEC could beat any team anywhere else. And it just didn't used to be that way. We used to go off these things called the rankings.
Yeah.
And we just, it's amazing to me that when we move into a college football playoff era, it's like less incentive than ever to go out and win it on the field, even though that's exactly what this is supposed to be. Like exactly what it's supposed to be. Because I agree with you, man. I watched Utah a lot this year, and they pile drived a ton of teams, man. Like that's the exact argument that we gave for Alabama, right? Was they got blown out in the SEC championship game, but look at what they were doing to these other teams for so long. Or Notre Dame was another one. How did we keep Notre Dame out? They were blowing teams out. Utah was doing the same thing, man. I think Utah and Alabama could have a heck of a game. I think Utah and A&M could have a hell of a game. That doesn't matter anymore.
Logan Fano would be the best offensive lineman in the SEC.
Yes.
Plays for Utah. Yes, Noah Fifita
best offensive lineman in the country.
would be the best quarterback in the SEC. Plays in the Big 12 for Arizona.
Yeah.
It's a bad quarterback league. It's a bad quarterback league. I just watched Ty Simpson the other day.
Yeah, it was not great. It's not great.
Jacob Rodriguez, best linebacker in the SEC.
Best quarterback in the country.
David Bailey, best defensive lineman in the SEC. These are Big 12 guys. ESPN they won't give you that. And somebody out there's like, well, PFF told me. Yeah, PFF probably has the highest graded linebacker in the country at San Jose State. Please don't ever ever read PFF.
They treat they treat it like it's a Make-A-Wish thing. Jacob Rodriguez, what a story, man. He's doing it for Texas Tech as if they're not a top 5 team in the country. They're not freaking loaded.
They're the kid with cancer. They're the kid with cancer who gets
literally,
to be
man. That's what I'm
prime
saying.
Sofia Vergara. And it's just a funny visual. It's a funny visual.
It's a friggin' it's a Tom Rinaldi piece. Like, that's what it is,
Yeah. What if I told you?
Doing it for Texas Tech.
And
of all this desolate, trophy-ridden place.
The second that narrative gets old, it's, hold on. They paid for this. They bought
Yes. Yeah, Ohio State's not. You're right.
Texas.
Georgia's not.
You turn on this propaganda machine. And Texas Tech's not even the top 10 in spending. But they won't tell you that. They don't want you to know that. And they will continue to tell you. This is Herbstreit and Fowler this week. We don't care. It's not part of our job is to be biased. We're just honest, objective journalists. Good people. We're good people. And they're telling you that to hide all of the things that Cam and I have just told you in the span of 10 minutes that the average college football fan's not supposed to know. That's the secret. That's what we want to keep from them. And it sucks. It kept BYU out of the playoff. It leaves no respect for Utah. And you would have had no idea Texas Tech existed outside of Reese Davis going, number 4, Texas Tech. All right, who's number 5? That's all you got.
Literally. Yeah, it's like, what a good year for them. All right.
I've said this a few times. I'll probably say it for the rest of my life. Joe Tessitore and whoever Jabron was doing the game with him on Saturday continued to say, this Texas Tech team looks pretty good. And we do a lot of SEC games. We spend most of our weekends in the SEC.
With the big boys.
And this Texas Tech defense is pretty good. And
who could have saw that coming?
I didn't go to Texas Tech. I went to a rival, actually. And I know the masked rider, not personally, but I know when the masked rider comes out on the horse, that's the masked rider. And Tessitore kept saying over and over, it's the masked raider. Here they come. He said it multiple times. Like, they just don't care enough. And they're trying to tell you, we just don't care.
Yeah.
The masked raider.
Man. It's just, you almost run out of things to say because we knew it was coming. Like, again, Alabama didn't even need to play on Saturday. And, like, you want to keep them in, even though they got blown out by Georgia. Like, I'm actually okay with that. I think Alabama should be in. I get that argument.
Sure.
But again, we're talking about 2 teams that were just sitting on the couch, and they get over another team who gets blown out in the championship game. Like, and we're like towing a line here of Tech is a really good team, right? Because they're going to buy. They're top 4. They're the conference champions. They've been in the top 10 the whole year, basically. But then what they're saying by keeping BYU out is that, well, Tech's not that good. You can't lose to them. You can't have that be the only team you lost to. Like, Ole Miss played the best team in their conference and they lost. And they're in, like, no problem. They never had to beat, had to break a sweat to know that they were going to get in.
And then
that's where you're losing.
They don't even have a coach.
Yeah, and of course,
BYU has a coach.
With A&M, who again probably should be in with the season that they had. That's as close to BYU as I think you'll get in the SEC. They didn't even play in the SEC championship game. By SEC standards, they had a pretty easy schedule. They had 4 or 5 teams that they faced that their coaches were fired mid-season, and like, again, no second thought about A&M. Were they the 6th seed? Like, no second thought.
BYU has maybe a better resume than A&M altogether.
Yes, I think they do. And we know that they have better ones than Notre Dame, who didn't get in, and Miami, who did. Like we know they do.
This shouldn't help you if you're a BYU fan, but I think this would have been a good year. And ESPN disagreed. And I have said the contrary, because I do think like Vanderbilt would be competitive with A&M. If we went to 16, we could see some really competitive matchups between number 16 and number 4. This would have been a good year for a four-team playoff. Georgia, Texas Tech, Ohio State, Indiana. Yep. That's it. I don't need. I know everything else. It's one of those 4 teams is the best team in the country.
I think we're starting to find out that 4 is.
4 was kind of fine.
4 was fine.
Somewhere in that 4 is the best team in the country.
Yeah.
Now I say that last year, what was Ohio State 8? So maybe some years you're going to ebb and flow.
Yeah, but I think that would have been looked. I think that
they
lost
to Michigan
differently. I think that would have been looked at differently though if there's a 4-team playoff. You know what I mean?
No, because they lost.
That would have been 2 Big Ten teams, so that's tough. I think they might have been ranked like 5th rather than 8th. Because I think that was 8-9, right? They hosted Tennessee.
So, yeah.
I think that would have been looked at way differently. I do if it was 4 teams.
Possibly.
I think they're closer to getting in. Is what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
I don't think they're seated 8th.
Coming up, Baylor hired a new athletic director. I've got to get. There's so many stories that happened in the Big 12 in 1 week that I have this. We'll start with
America's conference, baby. I love this conference.
Start with this one. All right, locked on Big 12. Omaha Steaks. It's a perfect gift. It's a perfect gift. Spider 2 White Banana. Omaha Steaks. The holidays come with 2 big goals: feeding people well and finding gifts they'll actually love. And Omaha Steaks is great. It's not just steak, too, by the way. They got I'm a vegetarian. They got vegetarian stuff on there, dog. Locked On College listeners get an extra $35 off with code COLLEGE at checkout. College is your code. It's the best gift ever. You can pack your own. You don't have to pack it yourself, but you build these boxes of things like the potatoes in there. There's sides. There's steaks. I like the ribeyes, but personally, desserts, comfort meals. You build a box for anybody. You order it by 6 p.m. Eastern, and it ships the same day. Save big on gourmet gifts and more holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during the Sizzle All the Way sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code COLLEGE at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. omahasteaks.com, code COLLEGE at Omaha Steaks. So between Iowa State opting out of a bowl and losing Matt Campbell, Kansas State opting out of a bowl, there are a million. I think the Big 12 grossly mishandled the PR behind BYU getting into the playoff. They did not do a very good job of promoting. There are a lot of things that I need to get to on Locked On Big 12 and talk about that I have not, that just has not been enough time in the podcast day. And the first one is this. The Baylor Bears have hired a new athletic director who, according to Shehan Jayaraja, Baylor alum, has not worked in college athletics in 7 years.
That is correct, by the way. He nailed that.
So that's like, I think Bill Snyder was still the coach of Kansas State. Urban Meyer was in the game. COVID wasn't a thing yet.
Not even.
Hasn't been college athletics in 7 years. He is the CEO of a company I've never heard of, Fish and Rip, something like that.
It gets close. It's a what is it? A outdoor lifestyle brand, I believe.
That's right.
Field and Stream.
Field and Stream.
2 things.
Piss and run, man.
I've had a good stream on fields before.
So, in a world where Jeremiah Dickey exists, in a world where there were other options for athletic director, we had on good authority the North Texas athletic director, who's done a very good job at a hard school to win, was like, yeah, man, I'd love to go to Baylor. And now the president hired the CEO of Fish and Piss. And I'm sorry, I'm excited to hear your thoughts, but I don't want you to be reserved in this. I would first like to say, because a lot of people seem to like this, which is interesting. They're like, man, I love Doug. I met him one time. Give me your, I'm Cameron Stewart. I do love the Baylor Bears. Here's my podium speech. And then give me your Keegan-Michael Key coach translator.
Yeah. So Doug McNamee comes in, has worked in the Baylor athletic department before.
As have you, by the way. So, I mean, that's
yes. Yeah. He's worked under 2 ADs that were both fired in disgrace.
Which at Baylor is That's what happens.
So there's your first part, is he has worked in Baylor athletics before. There's a familiarity there. Love Scott Drew. Who doesn't? I think where I'm going to give Baylor some credit is this is a bold move. And I understand the reasoning. I don't necessarily fully agree with it, but I do understand the angle of, we're bringing in a guy who's worked not just in athletics, but in the private sector, in the business world, through marketing, and it's got a fundraising background. Like, to win in college football these days, it doesn't just take this, but you need to have a lot of money and you need to rally donors, especially at this point right now where we're at, where there's complete fan apathy and you're keeping a coach. You know, you've got to get a guy who can raise some money in the best of times and the worst of times. And it sounds like Doug McNamee is that. Like, it sounds like he can do that. And I understand. That said, Keegan-Michael Key enters the room. Is he in the room with us right now? Yes. You can hire him to do a fundraising job. He doesn't need to be your athletic director.
Doug McNamee, the head of the Baylor Foundation.
That's great, man. Like, that's fantastic. That's what it should be. And I think every AD should have a right-hand man like that, or woman, that can fundraise the heck out of this thing. Let me focus on picking the coaches and booking the planes. You raise the money, and I pick the guy who does stuff with that money, right? Like, that's I think that's how this should go. And again, Baylor, I get it. Baylor is not the University of Texas. They're not Ohio State. They're not Michigan or Alabama or Georgia. And they're in a bad way right now. But that does not mean that Baylor cannot hire an athletic director who has been an athletic director. You know what I mean? And we just said it. Like, they had good options. They had people, like, if you're going to pick someone who's worked at Baylor before, great. Look up to Boise, Idaho, where they had the AD of the year last year and just accepted their third straight Mountain West Conference football championship trophy. Or look at Ren Baker from West Virginia.
Yeah. Football guy.
Football guy. Big 12 ties. Mac Rhodes ties. That's what they were looking for, clearly.
In a world where you have two options. One is to choose a football guy to be your athletic director. And the other is to choose the guy who was the CEO of Magnolia. You went with the cupcakes, man. You went with the cupcakes, man.
But did you see his house on the pilot?
Yeah, that was news to me. You told me off air. He was the first episode of Fixer Upper.
A house we've been by quite a lot, actually.
Doesn't still live in the home?
No.
Shingles were replaced because of a storm. You may remember that Chip built a pergola in the back. That was
who could forget that?
The McNamee family, one of their favorite features of his home. They, of course, didn't leave to sell the house because of, trying to make any money off of it. It was life. Life happens.
Life happens, man.
If we were to go down the list of schools in a bad spot, football programs in a bad spot, athletic departments in a bad spot, Baylor could be. It could be 16.
It's a bad spot.
It could be 16. And I like Linda. I do, I think. What are we doing? And look, maybe Doug's a nice guy, but the problem, the biggest problem with this, and you hit the nail on the head, as you usually do, is the second Doug McNamee picks up the phone to call Jamie Chadwell, to call Mike Gundy about the opening, to give a ring to Eric Morris. Mike Gundy's going to say, who the hell is Doug McNamee? Like Jeremiah Dickey, Ren Bake, these are guys that know people, that know football coaches.
Yes.
They don't, you hire Doug McNamee maybe as a GM of some sort for fundraising and whatnot. I don't know. But
can I give you a connection, like an analogy here?
Yeah, sure.
A metaphor, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It's looking at the pro game. It's like the Patriots moving on from Bill Belichick, greatest coach they've ever had, that anyone's ever had. But it's awful the last couple of years, real downhill. And so they get rid of him because they're like, we need to start over. And what do? But just hire a guy who's only coached under Bill Belichick. And he needs to find a staff. And he doesn't know anybody. He hasn't coached anywhere else. Like, that's what you're talking about with Doug McNamee. I like having Baylor ties. That's fantastic. But he's never been anywhere else. And so you're just, like the Patriots did, you're keeping status quo for a program that should not want status quo. Like, we don't want that. Like, it's going in the wrong direction here. We don't want to keep status quo.
Oh, I had a thought.
Oh, gosh, that's always bad. That's bad news.
This is bad. Is this what it felt like to be a Baylor fan in 2007?
I mean, probably.
That's not good. That's really not good. But there's pretty much nothing.
Recruiting class was better in 2007.
Yep.
Scary, but it's true. It's higher rated than this one. Yeah.
Before the advent of the podcast, of podcasting.
You can just get away with anything, man. You can just get away with not making a bowl game for 16 years.
Yeah, and the best part is, man, can't wait for Bryce Cherry to really pepper him with, how excited are you to be back? That press conference is really going to.
I think Bryce is going to hold his feet to the fire.
Good, Bryce. You should.
Bryce.
Once every 6 months, Bryce does something where I'm like, damn, Bryce. Balls.
Yeah, there's some things that kind of set him off.
I love it. Somebody's got to get spicy.
I'm a big Bryce fan, man.
He's the only spicy guy in the media there. They won't even let you in the doors anymore.
It's true.
Why? Because you weren't happy when Baylor was 5-7. Oh, Cameron Stewart's evil. He said.
What does he expect?
He said, we're just a private Baptist school. He said 5-7 was bad. So you know what? No credential for you.
It happens to the best of us.
At Real Cam Stewart. Yeah, I wouldn't know.
You know people. Doug McNamee. I don't know if he does. It's just like it's a punchline, dude. He's probably a nice guy from what everyone says, and he's probably good at his job. This is not his job. I'm willing to I'm gonna keep an ear open to this.
You think about the context of him being on the playoff committee one day, and again, this just it's that picture of all the Marines or the guys that, guns in hand in uniform, and the third one's just a clown. He's going to walk into that room. They're like, who? The CEO of Magnolia and his 11 friends. That's the college football playoff committee. Rooting for you, Doug. Rooting for you.
Like, they fix houses, man. How did they control this whole university?
It's awesome.
They seem lovely, man. Like they do. Awesome. It's crazy what has happened to this.
If hiring Doug McNamee is what
Arkansas, one of the worst programs in the SEC, at least has Walmart.
Imagine this is they held to the flame. You hire Doug McNamee, Magnolia will give you $100 million in NIL. If that is the case, we just don't know it yet. Doug,
then bring it on,
brother.
Bring it on.
Sick 'em Bears.
Let's do it.
Sick 'em Bears.
Let's do it.
At Real Cam Stewart for bad tweets. This has been It Always Will Be. Locked On. Thanks for making it.
What about the ACC championship though? I don't think it hit. People just didn't get it.
Listen every single day. It's a crossover with Baylor and Dose Grande.